Hey, how's it going? It's gamewebcam here. So this is a quick follow-up video to the previous Lil Nas X concert video that I just made. If you haven't seen that video already, click the thing on the top right corner to watch the video for yourself. I guarantee you, it may not be the best perspective, but I guarantee you it's going to be entertaining in different ways. While I was recording that video, before the concert actually started, I had a huge monologue about my recording setup before the concert started. Now, in the original video, I cut out this monologue entirely because I thought it deserved a video of its own. So this video is going to be that entire monologue specifically, and it's going to be me talking about OBS and Bandicam, which are the recording softwares that I have been using for recording videos and streaming, and how I might possibly be giving up Bandicam soon. I'm still thinking about it. I really shouldn't continue explaining this in a voiceover. You really just have to watch the video for yourself. I hope you enjoy the video, and take care. But one thing I really want to talk about right now is probably the recording software that I'm having to use. So, in order to make this recording possible with a working FaceCam and everything, right now I have to use OBS. I cannot use Bandicam as a reliable way to record my FaceCam anymore, because Bandicam, for some reason, just decides to refuse to connect at all to Bandicam, unless if it's like a super low quality version. And that's because Logitech, the people who made my webcam, have updated my drivers so that way it's heavily reliant on this one program called Logic Capture, which is essentially Logitech's program that allows you to control your webcam and everything. But ever since this driver update, I really can't use the camera properly for any other app. It has to go through Logic Capture in order for the camera to actually work properly. So I tried to set my Bandicam settings to try and pick up Logic Capture, but every time I try to get it to pick up Logic Capture, it's like, I don't recognize this device at all. What is this device? And as a result, my Bandicam no longer can do proper FaceCam. Again, if I want to do FaceCam with the legacy setup that I used to always do for the past 7 years, I have to use like the lowest resolution version of the webcam in order to get a smooth enough playback that doesn't have those weird artifacts. And it really poses the question if Bandicam is going to be seeing better days, because I've been using Bandicam for 7 years now. I remember one of the first videos on my Metrano Ivernin channel was testing out different screen recorders before deciding which one to purchase. And I decided to go with Bandicam because I found that to be the most efficient at the time. Keep in mind, this was a time before OBS rose to prominence. This was a time before OBS became popular. So OBS wasn't an option at the time. So I had to pick between Fraps, which has stopped getting support since 2013. So thank God I chose Bandicam. So I chose Bandicam because it was the most efficient, it was the best recorder you could get at the time. It was before OBS became a thing. But of course, even though Bandicam gets regular updates, I feel like they're not really progressing with better video technologies, unlike a video program like OBS. The problem is, though, what I liked about Bandicam is that it was able to take my webcam footage and whatever I was recording on the screen, right? And it was able to output that as 2 separate video files. And I found that that has been my workflow for at least a few years now with videos. Essentially, this new setup involves me having to do some weird workaround where I have my gameplay recording on the left half of the recording, and my FaceCam is on the right half, and then I have to use some editing tricks to make it look like it's 2 separate files, which it's a fine workaround, sure, but it's very intensive on my computer because I have to record at a higher resolution because I'm not just recording two separate files. I'm recording one huge resolution under one file. So it just puts a lot more work on my computer to accomplish the same result. But here's the thing. Bandicam made this recent update, right, where you are allowed to pair your microphone with the primary sound device, but unfortunately you cannot separate those two audio sources into separate tracks, which I found to be a very big issue. So in the end, I had to, give up the new Bandicam update with the microphone feature because it was putting my microphone and my game footage in the same audio track, and I was like, no, that's not what I want to do. And it really was a huge issue, especially in my core games gameplay, where it made my commentary way too quiet, and for my latest Ball Revamped video, it just made my audio way too loud when I tried to turn up the volume. So that entire experience was just a mess and a half that I never want to go through again. And even then, I didn't get full control over my audio tracks. I had one audio track for all my game audio and everything, and the second was for my microphone. There was a third audio device that my headset technically has that wasn't being picked up by Bandicam at all, and that was the voice aspect of my headset. Basically, the voice aspect of my headset picks up everything such as Skype, Discord, literally any voice chat will go through that audio device. So it's annoying that Bandicam isn't properly set up to allow me to put all three of these audio sources into their own tracks so that way I can easily edit them. But here's the thing as well. Bandicam had the advantage where I could literally get my webcam and my gameplay footage as two separate files, and it made it so easy to, move my webcam around the screen, which I'm now capable of doing in OBS. It's just a hackier method of doing it. It's a more performance costly workaround to do this. But at least with OBS now, I am able to get all three audio tracks that I want. So I have my gameplay in one audio track, my Discord conversations in another audio track, and my microphone in a third audio track. And this is very useful to me because it allows me to be very controlling of audio editing. Like, let's say the game was too loud. I could just simply go to the game audio track and be like, okay, I'm going to turn this down because this is way too loud, and I don't have to affect any of the other sources of audio because now they should be able to go through just fine because the game audio is no longer too loud. So that's one advantage that OBS already has over the Bandicam setup. It really makes me question, is it time to move away from Bandicam? Because Bandicam, I think, is starting to see better days. It was a good 7 years. I would say money was well spent on Bandicam. I think I used every last cent of my Bandicam license. But it's clear that as technology is progressing, I think Bandicam hasn't gotten with the times, and I think OBS is probably going to be my new recording software. But here's the thing, I also use OBS to stream as well as record. And the way I have to now flicker between a recording setup and a streaming setup is I now have profiles. So I have a profile for streaming and I have a profile for recording. I'm on my recording profile right now. So what my recording profile does is it gives a stretched out resolution that allows me to put both my gameplay footage and my webcam footage in 16:9 aspect ratios. And then I can literally, in my video editor, just perceive them as two separate video sources. With my streaming setup, it doesn't take multiple audio tracks. For some reason, OBS only takes one audio track when it comes to streaming. And also, I have to go to full 16:9 because that's where I have to broadcast it. So fortunately, switching to my streaming profile takes care of the aspect ratio problem, but I also then have to fix my audio properties so that way all my audio sources go onto the first audio track, so that way all audio gets broadcasted to any live streaming service whenever I go live. And I also have to enable certain filters for my webcam, because I have a few post-processing edits for my webcam, such as a cropping filter to make sure that there's not a whole lot of dead space between me and the background. So usually a lot of the background that you are seeing right here usually gets cut out with editing, because it's just a bunch of dead space and nothing really goes on there. So usually that gets cropped out, but I obviously can't do that in real time, so I have to use a filter in order to crop out all that dead space for streaming. But for recording, I may not want to do that, because who knows what might happen. So, of course, when I switch between recording and streaming, I have to maintain the cropping and all that sort of stuff, and the audio properties. But it's 3 different changes I have to make. So switching profiles, enabling the webcam filters, and fixing up the audio properties. Just those 3 changes alone, and I can easily switch between streaming on OBS and recording on OBS. So I think those are going to be that is going to be a very useful checklist to know. It's such a shame, man, that I'm going to have to see Bandicam go someday if this problem doesn't get fixed. If this problem does not get fixed, I might end up quit using Bandicam entirely, and I might have to go on OBS permanently, because OBS is the only program where logic capture does not seem to have any issues with. OBS seems to pick up logic capture perfectly fine. So, in conclusion, Bandicam, please get your crap together, because if you don't get your crap together, then of course, I'm going to have to stop using Bandicam entirely, and I'm going to have to move to OBS. And that's going to be a huge change for the channel, because I haven't changed my recording setup in like 7 years. So it's going to be a huge change. This is all going to be probably in a separate video more than likely. Anyways, the Lil Nas X concert starts in 30 seconds, so I'm going to shift back to the other video. Alright, so the concert starts in about 30 seconds. Hey, before I end off this video entirely, I just want to add in a few more things that I want to talk about in regards to how the OBS setup is better than Bandicam. Because there are a few things that I have left out in that monologue, and there have been a few things that have changed since I have made that monologue. So, in the original monologue, I have made a statement where switching from my recording setup to my streaming setup only takes about 3 actions. There's the camera filters, the audio properties, and then switching profiles. Well, that has now became a 2-step process, because now I figured out a new thing called scene collections. So, I'm going to show my OBS window right here. Ooh, tunnel effect! Okay, so here's my OBS window right here. So there's a new scene collection that I have made, and it's called recording scenes. So these are going to be all of my scenes that I'm going to be using for recording. If I click on this should give you a black screen, because that's supposed to be where gameplay is supposed to be. And this is screen recording, which shows my entire first monitor right here. I'm not going to add my second monitor, because, you know, it's not 16:9 aspect ratio, and it's also not 1080p. So, not only would it cause issues with, like, trying to get it to fit in the resolution, but I just would like to consider the second monitor to be, like, my sort of private monitor for the things that I don't want to be recorded on this monitor. So that's why I will not be adding a screen recording for the second monitor. Switching from a recording setup to a streaming setup now only takes 2 actions instead of 3. All I have to do is just switch profiles, which I cannot do right now because I am recording, but I just switch it from my recording profile to my streaming profile, and then I would have to go to my streaming scenes collection, and then I'm already done, because the scene collection handles the webcam filters, and it also handles the audio properties for me. So I'm knocking out 2 actions with 1 action, so I think this is the most efficient that it can get. I don't think it could get any more efficient than this. Alright, so let me just drag OBS back onto my second monitor. Alright, so the second thing that I want to talk about that I've noticed with OBS recordings as opposed to Bandicam. So here is my Bandicam storage right here. So I want you to take a look at these 4 files right here. So these 4 files in total add up to a total of 2.6 gigabytes, about 2.6 gigs. And this is for a 13.5-minute video. So this is for a video that is only 13.5 minutes long. 2.5 gigs. That is a lot of storage. And this, I don't know what it is about Bandicam, but every time that I've recorded FaceCam with Bandicam, the FaceCam footage is just so uncompressed. It always winds up to be the biggest file size out of all the 4 files that get recorded with Bandicam. The FaceCam, without a doubt, usually it has the biggest file size for the most part. And it's led to me to some cases where I've had to, like, try to avoid recording with FaceCam, so that way I don't waste, like, tons of gigabytes of storage because I wanted to record FaceCam. I didn't want to overwhelm my computer's storage with that sort of files, with those big file sizes. Why am I bringing this up? Okay, so I'm going to take a look at my latest OBS recording for the Lil Nas X concert. There's the recording that's currently in progress. So there's another advantage I want to talk about, but I want to get this second advantage over with first. So this second advantage is, so remember that 13.5-minute video, right? That took about 2.6 gigs of 2.6 gigs of storage. Well, this is almost a half-hour video, twice the length, and it has pretty much half the file size. And if we take a look at the video, you can see there's really no, the compression artifacts are not that big. Of course, I'm not going to play the video because there is copyrighted music present, and I don't want to have to go through the pain of having to edit that out again. But as you can see, for the most part, the video footage is crisp and clear. Like, this is definitely watchable video footage. So what this probably tells me is that the way that Bandicam has compressed video footage is terrible. I think OBS is doing a lot better in terms of video compression, because I have a video that is twice the length of a typical Bandicam video, and yet it takes up only half the file size of a typical Bandicam video. And that's with a clean 1080p FaceCam and clean 1080p 60 gameplay. So I find that to be very interesting. I think that is a very good point. I think a third point that I want to talk about, so when I do OBS recordings, I don't record them in MP4 initially. I record them in this file format called an MKV. So what is an MKV? Well, an MKV is a video format that is similar to MP4. But here's the key difference between an MKV and an MP4. So let's say while I was recording, a power surge happened across the house, or a blue screen of death has occurred on my computer, and it stops the recording abruptly without giving it a chance to do anything else. When I do this while recording MP4, that MP4 file is fucked. That MP4 file is damaged, and it cannot, you will have a difficult time recovering that MP4 file. That is not the case with MKV files, though. If if anything bad happens to the computer while I'm recording an MKV file, I can still play back the MKV file right before it abrupted without any issues. But of course, Premiere Pro cannot read MKV files, so let me show you. So if I try to import an MKV file, you see how it does not show up here? None of the MKV files are showing up here because Adobe Premiere Pro does not support MKV files. It does, however, support MP4 files. So how do I get my MKV files to MP4 files? Well, what I have to do, right? So I have to go to OBS, and then I have to go to File, Remux Recordings, and then what I do is I can select any of the recordings that I want to remux. Let's just say this recording, why not? And then let's make sure it goes into the remux folder so that way I can easily distinguish between the raw video recordings and the actual remixed clips. So of course we're not going to actually do the replacement because it's already been remuxed. But all I have to do is just that, and then I just click on this little button called Remux, and literally in less than a minute, it converts the MKV file to an MP4 file, and then I'll be able to open it up in Premiere Pro and be able to edit the video file perfectly. So I feel like this is a very good and convincing reason as to why I think OBS is already a lot better than Bandicam, is because it allows me to record in a much safer way as compared to Bandicam. Because Bandicam doesn't offer the capabilities of remuxing recordings to MP4. That is not something that Bandicam offers. OBS is the only program that I know of that offers this. So I think the fact that I can record in a very safe video file format, and then I could just remux it very easily to an MP4 format, which I can use in my video editor. I think that is a huge advantage for OBS compared to Bandicam. I think another advantage that I want to touch on, it's a small thing, really, but I think it still makes such a huge difference, is the fact that whenever I do the simultaneous FaceCam and gameplay recording on Bandicam, usually the webcam either starts early or it has a slight delay when the actual FaceCam starts recording. It's usually like 10 or 20 frames. And sometimes it is an absolute nightmare to try and get the FaceCam to sync with the commentary audio. But since in OBS I have this setup where I am literally recording all my FaceCam footage at the same time as the audio, I shouldn't have to deal with having to manually sync between the FaceCam the FaceCam video and the microphone audio. So I think, yes, that is a small nitpick, but I think that's just a lot less work for me, because it is annoying when that does happen. So yeah, I think that is a blessing right there. So again, I'm sorry I have to interrupt with another edit here, but I promise this is the very last one, okay? I just remembered this off the top of my head. Okay, it's 4 in the morning, okay? Give me a break. But essentially, I'm probably going to be recording pure camera videos with OBS rather than using Logic Capture, the native application that Logitech has given me. Because if you aren't listening to the audio already, you notice that the audio quality that this video is providing is pretty crap. Even though I have a very good quality microphone, a Blue Yeti, the audio quality is just absolutely crap, and there's nothing I really can do in terms of changing the audio settings to make it record a higher quality, because obviously this is Logic Capture. This is supposed to be a program in terms of the webcam itself. I don't think they care about audio at all, so if I'm going to be doing any pure webcam footage that in the future, I think it should be done on OBS, not on Logic Capture, and hopefully by listening to this audio, you should be convinced as to why I will not be using Logic Capture to do this, because, yeah, this audio quality is pretty crap, so. Okay, that's really all I have now, so I'll let you guys get to the outro now. Okay. Those are really all the advantages that I can really think of off the top of my head. Again, I'm still new to recording on OBS. There's probably a few things that I don't know yet that I'll probably figure out later down the line. But, yeah, that's really all I have to say for this video. If you guys enjoyed this video, please leave a like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to be notified for more videos from this channel. And thank you guys for watching. Take care.